Hey guys, today I want to talk about the best and worst traits of Filipino girls. And a lot of you are probably, we got mosquitoes here today. And a lot of you are probably saying, wow, this is going to get you in trouble, Steve. Well, I want to say this. First of all, everybody has their own traits. All girls have traits different than other girls and stuff like that. But there are certain truths about certain countries with their people, both men and women. There are a lot of differences, cultural differences, things like that. And a lot of the stuff that we're going to be talking about, some of it's culture, some of it's immaturity, or maturity, whichever way you want to look at it. And I want to talk about this today because there's some huge differences. We're going to be talking mostly about the Philippines, but we're going to be comparing them to the American women that most men left to the Philippines for. They left the American women to come over here and get a Filipina or get a Thai woman or what have you, in Asia. And a lot of guys get lucky and some guys get not so lucky. And one of the things that is a kind of a truth over here is that if you take a woman back to the States, a lot of them will change. And that's kind of true. I've seen that myself a long time ago, and I've also seen it happen to many other guys. A long time ago, when I was in my 20s and 30s, I was married to a Filipina. I noticed that all the Americans that were married to Filipinas, they all went through divorces. All of them. Every single one of them went through a divorce. Once you got them to the United States, within 2 years, 3 years, they were going through it. They were going through a divorce. It was fairly fast. It didn't take that long. Longest one was probably like 10 years or whatever. Okay, but here's the thing. Okay, and this is from what I've seen here, being the leader of a group here, a dinner group that we have, an expat dinner group. And we've seen a lot of breakups and a lot of guys that dated girls and the things that happened to them afterwards. And this is probably one of the worst things about Filipino girls. If you're with a girl for a long time and you're having a sexual relationship, whether it be short-term, long-term, or what have you, usually if you break off with that girl for any reason, it's going to be a hard breakup in most cases. Okay, in most cases. And some guys don't notice it because they're just oblivious to it for whatever, or they just don't pay any attention because they don't care. But with some of these girls, they're going to make you care, okay, if you're not paying any attention to them after you break off with them. Here's the thing about the girls here. There's a maturity factor. Now, like I said, a lot of these girls are fine, but the ones that are bad are real bad. And when you go to break off with a girl, they've got to talk all this crap about you to get it all out of their system. It's part of the culture over here. But some of them take it to a new level, and they will either blackmail you or they will make your life miserable, saying they're going to talk to the cops. They're saying that they're going to get you kicked out of the country. They're going to do this to you. They're going to get an attorney. They use public attorneys or whatever. They do all kinds of nasty stuff to you, and it makes life really difficult over here in the dating scene over here with a lot of the girls over here, and it can be downright scary. Does it happen to everybody all the time? No, it does not. But I've seen guys break off with girls that lived in gated communities, and the girls will somehow get the guard to let the girl in, maybe a bribe or whatever, or a promise of something or whatever. And they get inside the gated community and they knock on the door of the guy, and the guy has to complain to the gated community and tell the gated community, hey, the guards are not doing their job. They're messing up. They're letting girls in here that shouldn't be in here. And so is a gated community that much better? In these cases, usually it's not, unless you know the guard and you pay the guard like $5 or $10 and say, hey, listen, make sure this girl doesn't come in here. Tell the other guys that she's not allowed in here. In no way, shape, or form is this girl allowed in here. That usually puts a stop to it, unless she goes to the police and starts making false accusations. That's the thing that happens next. Now, what causes this? Is it culture? Part of it is. Part of it probably is the culture here. Do all girls do it? No, they don't. Here's the other thing. It's immaturity. a lot of guys will have you think that it's mostly the younger girls and stuff like that, and it's not. It's actually probably quite the same for somebody that's in their 50s or 60s or 40s or whatever. That behavior, it goes right across the board, any age. And that's the immaturity. And it's, you would think that the girls here were pretty mature, and a lot of people come over with this dream thing that, oh, these South Pacific Island girls and the Filipino girls and the Asian girls are all the same. They're all, you know, they take care of their husband and all that stuff. This culture has changed drastically so much over the past, I'll say 50 years. It's a lot different than what it used to be originally. Some guys are saying, well, I'm going to go down to the islands, and I'm going to get a girl down in Mindanao that's from way out in the boonies or whatever. I'm going to go to Panay and I'm going to find a farm girl or whatever, and that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to, marry her, and everything will be fine and dandy. And nothing could be further from the truth, because what happens is a lot of these girls, they talk too much. I've seen gossip, and we talked about this in one of my last few videos, that I've seen gossip destroy people, destroy expat groups and stuff like that because of what happens. I've seen the girls just start gossiping, and it gets to be too much. And some of these expat groups, up in Angeles, they had an expat group a long time ago, and it destroyed that group. And in our group, we've had some girls recently that broke off with their boyfriends and decided that they had to go around and do the thing of telling everybody what the boyfriend's doing, even though he's not with her, and it's none of anybody's business. That's the thing. It's nobody's business. A lot of these girls think that everybody in the group cares about what they're doing. Do you know what he's doing? He's doing this. He went to Angeles and did this. Or he went here to Manila and went down to Burgos Street, and Makati, and he did this here. He hired a hooker. He did this and stuff like that. And most people don't really care over here. They just, so what? He's not with you anymore, so why should we worry about what he does? We don't care what he does. We don't even care what he does when he's with you. That's between you and him. But over here, Filipinas tend to think that everybody has to know what the guy's doing when they break off with him, and they'll make sure that they find out. They network. They find out with the other girls what the guy's doing. And we happen to have that in this group here. We had somebody networking when somebody broke off with their girlfriend. We had somebody networking with somebody else, trying to find out the information. The ex-girlfriend was trying to network with somebody in the group, and the girl fed the girl the information. And that's kind of nasty. And that's one of the reasons why we decided to just kind of stop the group totally. And maybe like in 4 or 5 months, we'll do a dinner or something like that. We'll still try to meet up or whatever. Hopefully all this stuff will have calmed down by then. It's kind of sad that it's come to this. But I told my girlfriend, I said, I don't want to have any part of this stuff. I said, I'm sick and tired of hearing about this one's doing this and this one's doing that. And I'm like, and it's sad because there's a lot of good people in our group too, and that's the sad part. But the saddest part of this is what these poor expats have to go through when they break off with a girl. Here's a little thing that a lot of people don't know over here. And some guys know it, some guys don't. When you break off with a girl, they automatically think over here that you should give the girl at least 6 months where you shouldn't be dating and stuff like that. That's like kind of a rule that they make in case they want to get back with you or you want to get back with them. And it really bothers the girls over here if you start dating somebody immediately. Because some guys start off immediately, and automatically, if you start dating somebody within a few days or something, they think that you cheated. And, it might have just been somebody you met that day or whatever, and you just asked them on a date and you hit it off, and within a few days, some of these girls will move in with you. Everybody knows that. And I'm not telling people to do that. I'm just telling you, be careful. More so of your ex than of the girl, because it's just part of the routine over here that they think that you should not be seeing anybody for a while, that's wrong, and they don't understand our culture. We live in their culture, but we don't have to follow their culture. We don't have to follow those rules. They're not laws, and these girls tend to think that they're laws. I've had people, threaten me. I've seen friends get threatened. Well, I'm going to go to the police. And I said, yeah, you tell them that I'm seeing somebody 3 days after I broke off with you, and you tell them I'm cheating on you and blah, 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 you know, and see how that goes at the police station. I'm sure they'll have a good laugh at you. But what they do is they step it up a little bit and say that they were raped. They say that you did this or you did that. They make up a story. And it's getting to be quite commonplace in the Philippines to see that stuff happening, you know, and it's really, really sad that it happens. But here's another thing, is that if you come here, make sure you have a really good lawyer that is that is on, you know, give them like a couple $100 in case you have to call them from the police station, or you need help with something, or you need to call them late at night or something like that. You can call them, because stuff happens with these girls. Some of these girls are just, I'll just say it, batshit crazy, you know, and a good amount of them will try to pull some of these stunts. Most of them just try to make it uncomfortable for you. They'll start telling your friends that, you know, he's doing this, and he you know, like I said, he went up to Angeli's, or he went to P. Burgos Street, and he picked up a hooker or something like that, just to make you look bad, even if you didn't do it. In most cases, some of these guys didn't do it, and some of them, maybe they are doing it, but it's nobody's business. And like I said, nobody really cares. That's the problem here in the Philippines, is that these girls think everybody cares, and in the gossip circle, or on the gossip train there, a lot of the girls do want to hear this, so they can pass it around. They can use it whenever. And some of these girls, what they do is they go after the guy's friends. There's my dog right here, just popped up here. Okay, go ahead, Watson. You know, and what happens is they go after the friends of the guy, so that way they'll start, they won't really threaten the friends of the guy, but they'll start saying stuff to try to make them feel guilty, like they did something or what have you, and they'll try to drag them in, and that way that guy will get pissed at the guy. Hey, get your ex-girlfriend off my ass, you know, stuff like that. And that's what some of these people will do. There's all kinds of little tricks that these girls do, and it does get kind of nasty and kind of sickening, actually. But anyway, I wanted to talk about that, about the maturity level, because when you break off with an American girl, in most cases, unless it's a marriage, and you're going to be, marriages are, you know, they're marriages, and when you go through a divorce, they're always brutal. But when you are dating a girl, or you're seeing a girl for a long time in the United States, or whether you're living with a girl, usually the breakup, yeah, it can be rough, but are they going to call the police on you and, you know, start following you around and know everything that you did? These girls here will know every single thing that you did. They'll know every single thing that you did. And even if you didn't do it, they'll have you doing stuff that you didn't do. You know, that's the way they work here. And like I said, it's not all girls here. It's a lot of them. A lot of these girls, they see their friends doing it, and they have to repeat the same thing that their friends do. It's like copycat syndrome, because their friends are telling them, hey, do this to him. If you really want to get him back, do this here. You know, and then, you know, go around telling everybody he did this here, and you know, then the girl that he's with now will get jealous and mad, and then she'll do something to him. And that's what they're hoping. And sometimes these girls will even try to get in touch with the girl that you're seeing or whatever, make comments at her or whatever, and it's something you don't need to. And sometimes it might be best to give it a little bit of a break and just stay home for a while, maybe a month or two, and just let things cool down and not have any contact with these women at all. Let me tell you something. If you break off with a girl here, break it off. You know, tell her you don't want her coming to the house anymore. Say, you know, we can remain friendly and stuff like that, but I don't want you stopping by the house. You know, if you want to call me up and say, hi, how you doing, once in a while, once every month or two, fine. You want to send me a text, preferably by text, that's fine. You know, but I don't want you coming over the house or whatever. Will that make things better? Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it makes it worse. If you keep contact with these women, they know what's going on. They see what's going on because they get you talking. And then once they get you talking, they're getting little pieces of information, and they're passing all kinds of crap out there about you. And that's the bad part, because a lot of guys don't know the way that these women work. They're evil. Some of these women can be downright evil what they do. Anyway, guys, God bless, take care, and be careful out there. Any of you guys out there, keep in the back of your mind what I said. You know, when you break off with a woman, it might be better off giving the dating scene a break for a few weeks or a month, you know, and just enjoy life for a while, kick back, watch TV, watch some movies, go out with your friends or whatever. But I would make sure that you'd have no contact with that girl, because otherwise you keep dragging her along. She still think there's hope that you're going to get back together. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's the best advice I can give you. And also, remember, it might be good to get an attorney over here, because sometimes it can be that bad. It can be that bad, especially when you're up around the Manila area. I think when you're out in the provinces or whatever, it's not as bad like that. Most of the girls, if you break off with them, it's okay. I think that stuff is mostly around the Manila area, Quezon City, places like that, probably in Davao. But there are cultural differences too, where other cities might be better and they might be less likely to do that. But I do know that up and around the Manila area and throughout Luzon, it's pretty prevalent that a lot of these girls would do this stuff. And like I said, no, I'm not trying to paint all girls with a broad brush here. It happens a lot here. It happens a lot. Be careful. God bless and take care, guys.